24 hours to the start of football's biggest mundial in Qatar. I'm talking about the World Cup. We are here to actually know the latest concerning the Black Stars of Ghana. I've told you that Max TV is the home of sports, and this World Cup season you have to stick and stay with us because we will be bringing you all the gist from the camp of the Black Stars. We are officially doing the Black Stars diary there. My name is Mutala Yakubu, and our representatives are already in Qatar. I'm talking about Yaw Ampofo-Ankrah and Phillip Atsrim, Sitso Phillip, who are standing by. I mean, you guys are looking good. I don't know, just a day that you got to Qatar and already Sitso has putting on weight.
Hi, Mutala. It's evening here in Qatar. It's 8:41 p.m. My assumption is that we are 3 hours ahead. That takes you to 5:41. So good evening to everybody listening or watching us in Ghana from Doha. It's been exciting being here.
It has, and obviously today's been a long day for us. We've been out in town with the Black Stars. They went to the Nobel Mall in the center of town. They went around, to stretch their legs, to get to know the people, to get closer, autographs, photos, and basically it's part of the World Cup schedule, and it went very well. All the players went out and they returned. They're now having their supper or dinner. And we're here to put the pieces together. But so far, it's the momentum is building up, and the World Cup is just around the corner. It's the eve of the World Cup, and I'm sure you can hear in the background a lot of music, a lot of noise. Here at the Black Stars Team Hotel, there's a lot of energy. It's very vibrant, and I'm sure that's the same energy that will be felt in the Team Hotel of Ecuador. We'll be playing against the host nation, Qatar, on Sunday afternoon.
Now, Sitso, Ghana is trending for the right reasons. Yesterday, the rousing welcome that the team was given when they arrived in Qatar was massive. I've seen other African nations start down in Qatar, the likes of Senegal, but I haven't seen that huge crowd welcome a team like what we saw yesterday.
Yeah, I think you said something about the African contingents, right? And Ghana being...
Yep. I'm talking about the fact that we saw a huge crowd welcome the team yesterday at the airport.
Yeah, I mean, look, it was huge and amazing and widely reported on many platforms. People were surprised by the numbers, but not according to the hosts and also the Ghanaians in Qatar and the Qatari. They say there are a lot of Ghanaians here. They made their way from far and wide, students, workers, and some have been living here for a decade, some less, but they came in their numbers to sing, to jam, drumming, the flags, and it's one of the images that has actually catapulted the Black Stars into the limelight because so far no national team has had such a resounding welcome, and it's a really positive move there. And I think, Sitso, we were also overwhelmed by that side.
Yeah, absolutely, we were. I mean, when you think of Qatar, you don't straight away associate it with places that lots of Ghanaians are going to go, but you might be wrong. But the numbers were here. And then speaking about Ghanaian fans who were organized by government or ministry or TFA to bring it to Qatar. We're speaking about Ghanaians who are working in Qatar who came together to come and open the national team. The team that the ministry put together and bring to Qatar have not yet arrived. And I think they're coming on Tuesday or Wednesday. Right. When they get into town, we have a lot more Ghanaians here. But to know that these are Ghanaians who are working in Qatar, schooling in Qatar, taking time out of their schedules to meet the Black Stars was just a pleasing thing to see, to be honest. And everybody's actually talking about it. When we came in, the security guys here showed us videos of what they had captured. They were amazed by the love showed by a lot of Ghanaians. So yeah, Ghanaians have been well received. And when you go around town, people see you in the Ghanaian colors and they are, should I tell you, Ghana,
I want to take your book, yep.
Andrea, you, Kudus, all the stars that we also do mention. All the others around the world are also looking forward to see them at the World Cup.
Of course.
Yep,
now,
and you can see those.
Yeah. I want to find out from you guys, especially Sitso. Do you think the win over Switzerland played a part in this, with people coming out to cheer the team? It seems that confidence has been skyrocketed.
Yeah, the pomp and pageantry. Obviously, it's not just about the football on the pitch. Everybody wants to show a little bit more about their country, and the Ghana village will be key in that. You can see there, Thomas Partey coming through, some of the other players. The CEO of Ghana Tourism Authority, Akwasi Agyeman, is here, and he's here for a purpose because the Ghana village is supposed to basically push Ghana here, home away from home, and that's the agenda. And the players are supposed to be, the ambassadors on and off the pitch. You saw what they wore. The traditional suit with the red, gold, green is long gone. The 𝐐𝐀𝐓𝐀𝐑 is something that we've been doing for a long time with the national teams and also with, the Olympic teams. 𝐐𝐀𝐓𝐀𝐑 has been pronounced. And there you see the captain, Andre Ayew, with the GFA president coming through as well. And traditionally, in the northern part of Ghana, the Ayew would be symbolic of, respectfully, a Yana or a big chief. That's right. That's right. And it's been explained. So he's a leader here. As a captain, it's a big responsibility and on his shoulders. And I think he knows exactly what's expected of him. This is his third World Cup, and there's no doubt about it. He would know how to help saturate the pressure for the rest of the boys who are making their first ever appearance.
Of course. Now, winning the World Cup, Sitso and Yaw, would seem like a tall order. But what is the feel among Ghanaians, especially those in Qatar? Hello, guys. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I think you were addressing Sitso.
I am asking, what is the feel among those in Qatar, even though winning the World Cup looks like a tall order for a nation like Ghana?
Say again, come again, please.
I am asking that what is the feel among the fans there, those who are already in Qatar? Winning the World Cup might be a bit difficult, but what are they expecting of the team this time around?
Winning the expectations,
I think first off, when the World Cup comes around, there are very few countries who go into it with the expectation of winning, and that is to be very blunt and to be honest. There are very few countries who are coming into the World Cup as favorites to win it. And the grand idea of the World Cup has not always been about winning the title necessarily for a lot of other countries. It is the fact that you see your country on the world stage, you hear a national anthem on the world stage, and you try to go as far as possible. And that is the sense you get from a lot of fans who are here. We spoke to Mexicans earlier today at the mall. And with the sense we got from the Mexicans, well, they're not expecting Mexico to win the World Cup. But what they're expecting of their national side is to represent them, when they play. Show the fight, show the passion, be part of the World Cup and go as far as they can. You're not putting pressure on them to win. But the story is not the same when you're Brazilian or when you're English or when you are a German. You're always being Argentine, you're expected to go in there and win it. So when it comes to the Brazilians earlier at the airport as well,
they want to win.
They came with a fake FIFA trophy because for them in Brazil, winning the World Cup is what it is. It's not negotiable. Argentines feel the same. Some English fans feel this is their time as well. And so, however you look at it, people have different motivations to want to be part of the World Cup, to want to have a feel of it. And I think that as the tournament starts tomorrow and as it builds on, all of us are going to see the mentality about different fan groups and how people feel about their national teams, especially Ghanaian fans, as we'll be dealing and delving into their fans' diary the more.
And more so with the recent, match against Switzerland, where many thought Ghana might get a draw if they're lucky. Most people thought Ghana would lose to the Swiss. I mean, their recent, victories over Portugal and Spain were quite impressive. Yes, they might say the weather, but then again, most of these players with the Black Stars also play in colder climates. So the match itself against Portugal will be played in the evening. So it wouldn't be that much of an advantage, where some in the media, the so-called pundits, the experts are saying, Ghana may have an advantage because of the weather. I think it's a level playing ground, and it will be a very, very interesting game. I don't think Portugal would be naive to perhaps compare the match against Nigeria as a yardstick. They know Ghana will be a different proposition, and they will be ready for a fight. But these boys could also be ready to shock them. So it's going to be a fascinating game. Ghana versus Portugal.
Now, you guys took a walk with the team this morning. I saw Sitso having a little chit chat with Andre Ayew there. I mean, what are the players saying with all that they've seen? I saw Ghana at the 2006 World Cup. We did it with 2010, 2014, but there seemed to be a different feel. What are the players saying with what they've seen so far?
Are you saying what are Ghanaians saying
No,
about
what are
Ghana's
the
chances?
players, the players of the Black Stars? What are they saying with the crowd? They've seen the reception and everything they've gotten.
The players, you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the players are not, they're not talking about Portugal, and they're not talking about the World Cup. They're just saying that, watch us, we're ready, we're preparing. They've been very cautious and cagey, and I think for good reason. As I said, most of them, this is their first World Cup finals, and they don't want to get ahead of themselves. Yes, you've beaten Switzerland, it's a friendly game, but they're not saying anything as, we're going to beat Portugal. No, they've not said that. What they're rather saying is that we're preparing, we're getting ready, we will be ready when it's time to meet Portugal. I think they want to make the statement on the pitch and then make the statement after the match, which obviously makes perfect sense.
Yeah. And I think the general
Now,
sense
Sitso,
of
I want to find out from Sitso. He was having a chat with Andrea, and if he can feed us on that, what exactly were you guys talking about?
Well, I mean, Andre is the captain. He's the very leader of the side. I think when we're taking the stroll at the mall, and then when he came through and we exchanged pleasantries. I mean, we didn't speak about football, and that is one of the things. You don't always want the players to be consumed in football and tournaments. You need them to also, for a couple of minutes or seconds, get their minds off it. And when I was just having a chat with the skipper, we're talking about other things than football, how beautiful the mall was. And it's a place where he is, actually. He plays in Qatar. He plays his home with outside. So he was speaking about how beautiful the mall was and how easy it is for you to be missing in the space. And there were several others there who were having the laugh with the football. You could see Daniel goes out there calling me a striker, and I was just trying to, show a little bit of skill with the foot. Imagining a football in the air. All of those things were just on the lighter side as they took their stroll in the mall. I think that one of the things that we need to do, that the time will come for us to talk about proper football, but the technical team or the handlers of the team are easing the team into the main business. I can tell you for today, they had long sessions of technical briefings, long sessions with the technical constantly. So 3 times in this day, in the morning, the afternoon, the evening, they've had, as we speak, they just go out of the technical meeting, discussing tactics of the long ball. So we don't want to bore them with only football when they go out there to want to have normal human conversation. So you look at the mood around the team, and I think it's one that is calm, it's focused, it's expectant, but ultimately there's real bonding and togetherness among the stars.
Yeah,
Now,
obviously,
Fugu is actually trending. Fugu is trending on the world. I mean, when you go to social media, everybody is talking about how beautifully the team was clothed. Putting that together, was it a right way to sell the country? We saw the 𝐐𝐀𝐓 on their necks as well. Everyone is talking about how beautifully Ghanaians were dressed yesterday.
The branding.
Yeah, the branding.
Absolutely. Traditionally, I mean, you saw the Senegalese in their, is it Jalabia, if you want to call it that, traditional wear. You've seen the Cameroonians, what they've worn, the Tunisians, the Moroccans.
See what
The Brazilians are wearing a suit with the embroidered Brazil, logo, the crest there. It's very Western, it's nice. But if you don't brand yourself, every 4 years, the World Cup comes around. It isn't just about the football. So you use that platform to sell everything that is good about you. Your players go on the pitch and they add it. If they win, it propels all your other strengths. So, for example, let me give you an example. Ghana's top musicians, for example, can be tweeting and putting on social media things around the team to get mileage and traffic, motivation.
By the way, on a lighter note.
Wait. So, yes. So today we were out and about, and a lady was coming. I mean, she was pushing a trolley, and she stops, and she said, "Oh, I didn't know you're here. I know this guy." And she was referring to the video. Apparently, she thought Sitso is the video, and she actually believed that, and we all just started laughing, and Sami Kufo was there, Anthony Barco. It was great. And talking about that, you've got Olele Richard Kingston. Yeah. You've got the coaches, Hartzeburg, former coach. That's right, Samuel Bodu, Prosper Ogun, they're here. Masoud, Didi Dramani. Then you've got the likes of George Boateng, the coach himself, Ado Chris Houghton. It's a very strong team. Dr. Pambo, leading the medical team. There are other facets, of people really coming together to form a very strong team. The PFAG of Ghana, Professional Footballers Association of Ghana, playing a very strong role this time around with the president of PFAG, Sami Kufuor, Tony Barfo, the founder, and others. Very instrumental. The scouting, the European team that adds the physiotherapy, the what's the word to use? The video analysis, all these things makes it. This is probably one of the most compact, organized, and maybe the most prepared Black Stars team that we've seen since 2006, 2010, 2014. Will it be a major difference? We'll find out against Portugal, but I sense that it could be a key factor. The 𝐐𝐀𝐓𝐀𝐑 administration have been able to put together a very solid off team. This is behind the scenes and making sure that the team on the pitch will deliver. And I'm thinking that they probably have got it just about right.
Okay, now there's the popular adage that says that to whom much is given, much is expected. With all the reception, with all the support that the country has given the Stars, do you think it would put some kind of pressure on the team?
Well, to be honest, Buta, I don't think the team is under pressure. The team, they know absolutely what is expected of them. I've not looked around the side and looked at a team that looks like they are under any pressure whatsoever. I think they're embracing it. Mm-hmm. The players are looking forward to playing the World Cup. And we saw that in the friendlies against Switzerland. We were looking at Salis, who was making his debut and played as though he's always been here. We saw Daniel Friebani, who got his first massive start.
And took it so well.
And he took it so well with both hands. And after the game, when you look at the vibe around the team, everybody was applauding each other because they are focused, they are poised. Obviously, as professional footballers, when you go onto the pitch, it doesn't matter whether you're Ronaldo or Messi. There's always that nerve when you hear the anthem of your national or your country, and you have to step onto the field and do the job. But I don't think that it is pressure building on them and demanding so much of them. No, I don't see that, or I don't feel that mood around the camp. I actually think it's one of a serious team focused who are going to look at throwing the challenge to others. Because let's face it, Portugal are favorites. They have to take the game to Ghana.
Absolutely. The pressure's on them.
The pressure is on Portugal, not Ghana. To the largest extent, the pressure is on Uruguay, not Ghana. So Ghanaians are actually very calm, relaxed about the situation and hoping to take their chance when it comes. And what we can hope for is that the luck that most winning teams do get in tournaments also finds the Black Stars when they play.
Of course. Now, what is the itinerary of the team tomorrow? Tomorrow is the opening ceremony. We know Qatar will be playing Ecuador, but is there any plans of a training session tomorrow? We know they arrived late yesterday, and today they took a stroll at the mall and all that. What are they doing tomorrow?
Well, tomorrow, obviously, today was an off day. That's why they were able to do all the other non-football stuff, which is fine. Sometimes it's also psychologically a way to disengage, breathe, and get back onto the pitch. So tomorrow they will return to normal training. It might not be full before a match. There's a certain schedule before the game, and each day has a winding down to kickoff. We've not been given the final countdown, and I think that's wise also. Teams don't normally do that. What they will just tell you is that maybe there's a training session, it's for this long, media is invited, media not invited, but there will be a compulsory press conference and a compulsory media coverage of the training sessions, both Portugal and Ghana. That will be communicated in due course. I think everybody's looking forward to the opening match tomorrow between Ecuador and Qatar. We spoke to some Ecuadorians, and they're also saying, yeah, we respect Qatar, but we expect to win this game. The Qatari, however, are saying not just win the game, they want to advance in the group and do well at the World Cup. So it'll be very interesting. Respectfully, not the two most glamorous sides to open the World Cup, but I think Qatar deserve to be given credit for what they've done so far. And if they can do a little bit more on the pitch, we could have a very interesting World Cup.
Okay. Now, let's move a bit away from the Black Stars and talk about tomorrow. 11 years has taken Qatar to put up this together. They seem to be enjoying themselves. I saw you talk to a few of the Qataris there. I mean, what does this World Cup mean to them? We back here, we're talking about the fact that this is huge for them, but you have gone there, you have experienced what they are experiencing now. So what does this mean to them, the FIFA World Cup?
Well, I think for the Qataris, Mutala, they are excited that the whole world, the FIFA is expecting over 3 million people to touch down in Qatar and enjoy the World Cup. And the people of Qatar are supremely excited. And today, during the day, when we're going about our work, Yaw and I, what we're taking notice of was the weather. And I think perhaps maybe from where we come from, I think the weather was perfect for football. It looked very good, or it felt very good, I should say. Those are the right words to pick.
Okay.
I think it was decent weather for football. And to cap it off, they've got air conditioners in their match venues, which means that it should be even better for the Westerners and what have you. But generally, Qataris are excited that the World Cup is here. We know a lot of media, especially from the West, but the news coming in from the West was all about their human rights, working conditions and what have you. Surprisingly, when we've paid taxis, when we've been to hotels, when we've been to the malls, and we've spoken to people who are working, they seem to be happy. They seem to be telling, and maybe it's too early for me to say. It's one of the things that I'm here to really uncover, whether truly there are workers here in Qatar who are just not happy about conditions. It's something I'm going to uncover, and I promise fans watching the Black Stars Diary and the Fans Diary, I'm going to give them all of those exclusives. But at the moment, anybody you talk to and you ask about Qatar, they're excited.
Absolutely.
And the key thing they tell you, especially when you speak to Qataris, is that they are happy the world is here. All they hope is that the world can respect who they are, their culture, their religion, their beliefs. And then their welcome and opening the doors of Qatar to everybody. And I must say that the reception has, for me, been splendid. It's been overwhelming for me when you look at how people want to engage you, how people want to help you, people want to take a picture with you because you're in Ghana. Listen, the World Cup is in Qatar. In the World Cup, the Qataris look ready or are ready to host the rest of the world. At least for what I've seen, they are on course.
Yeah,
Of
and
course.
to add to that, obviously,
We are listening to you.
Yeah, the Qatari, they've invested a lot. They've pumped in billions of dollars into infrastructure, into technology, security. I've been to a few World Cups, and I think in this case, security is absolutely tight. But what they're doing is quite innovative. It's security. It is a friendly type of security. Yes, we're firm. These are the rules. If you don't have accreditation, we're not bending the rules. If you're not properly dressed, we're not bending the rules. But there is a kind of human face to it, and I think that is deliberate. That is very purposeful. They brought experts from Europe, from Asia, from everywhere to be part of this World Cup. You see a lot of security, both plain clothes and uniform, and that's to make sure that people know there is a presence, and at the same time, they are safe in any environment that they go to. The infrastructure, we don't need to talk about that. Unbelievable mega structures they put up here. Very beautiful. And as Sitso said, the hospitality has been brilliant. You feel it, from the airport to here, everybody's engaging. They know the World Cup is coming. They want to go and watch it. And interestingly, a Pakistani a taxi driver who brought us, he was, being very friendly. We asked him, so how much are we paying? He said, oh, anything you like. We said, no, but how much do you charge? He said, no, this is the World Cup. Whatever you want. And I'm like, okay, that's quite unusual. But that's just another story. There are a lot of very beautiful stories that we'll be sharing, as he said, in the diary. And it's going to be different diary this time around, 0.20. So watch out for that.
Diary Pro Max.
Hi. Now back to what happened on Thursday. We got a 2-0 victory over the Swiss team. Way back here at home, we are excited. We are all talking about it. When you got there and you spoke to the fans, has that win actually given them renewed hopes in a team that they were not so confident in the past?
Yeah, I think that victory is speaking about the victory in the game against Switzerland.
Yeah,
I think it's giving not only Ghanaian fans, but even some Portuguese fans. It just raised the eyebrow a little bit. If they were looking at Ghana this way, they all of a sudden like, hang on a minute, they might have got something special there. Because, and the key thing about the game, anybody who saw it is that for the first time in many years, in recent years in the Black Stars, it looks like we probably have options on the bench. And this World Cup could be one of those World Cups that will be decided on how good technically or tactically your team can replace players from the bench, because we are looking at not one, not two, not three, but 5 substitutions. So when you've got enough bodies on the bench, you can turn on the screw and bring on quality. then that could be a weapon for you. And we saw that in the game against Switzerland that we didn't have to necessarily start all our best players in that game, but we still had a solid first half. And in that second 45, when we rang in those changes, the boys still looked very coordinated. And we are speaking about one of the most coordinated Black Stars performance in the last almost 3 years now. So all of a sudden, teams who were thinking that we've not seen enough of the Black Stars in recent games have looked at that game against Switzerland, which is, by the way, a very good side. And don't mince words, they played their best 11 Switzerland in that first half. And I'm thinking that just maybe Otto Addo and Ghana have got something up their sleeves. And straight away, the players in the camp are also beginning to look to the left and to the right and beginning to believe a lot more in each other. Because we saw Salas and Eliza Owusu in the middle of the park, the way they communicated, the way they bossed it, the way they played, the way Banier played, and then straight from the bench, the way Ante and Samenyo and Kamal and Suleiman are just turning the game on its head. Listen, not only Ghanaian fans are beginning to look positive or feel positive about this, even Portuguese fans, Uruguayans and South Koreans are beginning to wonder if they have only maybe underestimated the Ghanaian potential. But we would also be quick, or personally would be quick to say, that was a friendly game and we might not need to read so much into it and get carried away. But it's certainly, surely, a good starting point for Ghana to build something on from there.
Yeah, and I mean, what everybody's asking is that, okay, the Switzerland play to their strength? Did they relax? The Black Stars are not buying into that. What would obviously please Coach Otto Addo is the number of chances created. What would please him is the likes of Barnier being probably the most dominant attacking player in that first 45 minutes. I mean, he was given his chance, he took it. Maybe Danlad Ibrahim was not given the chance, but you do suspect that if Coach Otto Addo has to make that choice, has to make that decision, he would not, shy away from doing it. And then Thomas Partey and Kudus watching from the stands, they'll be thinking, hold on a minute, okay, so we can deliver, but the boys on the bench can also come in or come off and do it. Confidence around the team is bubbling. You can see that. They've been very calm about it. But you have to remember, this is a very inexperienced side. It is a youngest side per age in the tournament. It is its lowest ranked team in the tournament. And it has most players who have never played a World Cup. In fact, it is only the brothers, Andre Ayew and Jordan, who have played in previous World Cups. The rest are new. But that could also provide, the pivot for these players to say, you know what, we have nothing to lose. We're underdogs. We're the lowest ranked. It's our first time. Let's go and have fun. No pressure. And when that happens against the big boys, you do find that suddenly things can happen. So we shouldn't be overconfident. We shouldn't expect too much, but we should dream. And I think it's important that we enjoy this World Cup with these players, a future team with some very star-studded, experienced players in there.
Okay, now I'm not in the studios alone. We are here to do that Premier League game between RTU and Kotoko on Star Times. So I have Esther Bankwa and Mo Shaban, and they have a few questions to ask you guys as well, because you are there at the center. So Esther has a question for you guys. The Esther Bankwa is here.
Hello, Sitso and Yaw. Okwadwana.
Of course.
All right, I just want you to highlight more on the euphoria among the players themselves. In terms of the supporters that welcome that we've seen it, what about the players themselves? What has been their talks in terms of how they are approaching this particular group that a lot of people see it to be very impossible for them to qualify out of it?
This afternoon, Sitso and I were in the bus with the players heading to town. And they'll switch from French, they'll speak French a little bit. They'll switch to Hausa, those who can speak Hausa, a bit of tree, a bit of joking. They're very relaxed. They're not uptight and tense. And when you see that in the camp, it is a positive thing. I think Stephen Appiah's era was one of those that had a lot of big names, big egos, big stars, Muntari, Essien, Appiah himself, you can name it, Asamoah Gyan. Real big players, but they found a way to relax and let each other, shine, as it were. And Coach Otto Addo was part of that squad, if you remember. So maybe he's learned a lot from there, and he's also trying to get a balance where the players would respect each other and also have respect and confidence in their abilities. They are not talking about Portugal. I've not heard anybody mention it. They're not talking about, doing better or whatever. They are just focused on that first match quietly, and they remove themselves from the pressure of saying things that would, bring extra or added pressure onto them. I think this is a good mix. And if the first match goes Ghana's way, that confidence suddenly goes to the next level.
Okay, so that was from Esther Vankwa. Mo Shaban is also here. He also has a question for you, but Mo.
Sitso and Yaw, I can see you are enjoying yourselves over there. My question is, for the first time we are taking a lot of coaches over there. We have the local Black Stars, the local Black Stars assistant coaches. We have some local coaches being part of the technical team of the Black Stars. Do you think that they are going to adapt to something based on what you observed yesterday? Do you think this is going to have a positive output on the Ghana's performance at the World Cup?
Yeah, I think so. And I've always been one of those who have said that our coaches do need all the help they can get. And I've always said that when you look at the rest of the teams that we compete with at the world stage, they've got an enormous backroom staff. Unfortunately for us, our coach is lacking. So I was very happy when I read earlier when I realized that Otuado was going to get more hands to prep his team or work on his team. And I think that, when you look at the coaches that have come to join, all these three have got a lot to offer. We are talking about the last two winners of the Ghana Premier League. 2 years ago was Samuel Boyd, who won it with Hattifo. Only last year, it was Dr. Prosper Nati Ogu, who won it with Asante Kotoko. We are talking about Ibrahim Tanko, who is the coach of the Black Meteors. He's qualified them to the next stage. He's been at the African Youth Championship before, and he's still got a great future ahead of him. And all these three coaches are knowledgeable in our game. We've seen them handle teams, but they are going to be here to help. And in the process of helping, they're also here to learn. And so it gives Otuado and the rest of the technical team an extra hand when they are training, when they are preparing, when they are working. And we saw them today after breakfast, when the rest of the players said we're going to take their nap. The coaches stayed behind to have a technical meeting, and they were there. They were locked up. We were not privy to the information there. But when they were working out of the place, sometimes when you want to see a face that looks serious or has just gone to a proper work, it has a certain stern look. And that is the feeling that you get. So I think that these local coaches who have been asked to join the camp to, one, help, to two, learn, is going to go a long way to help Otuado and the rest of his technical team, give them more hands to better prepare or work on the national team. And I think it's all about assignments, Yaw. Yaw is my boss. Yaw assigns me to do something and get it done. If I'm not here, Yaw has to go and get that done before he does other things. So now the technical team have got a lot more bodies on their hands to work with. That saves time and that brings efficiency. And that for me was a very good initiative by the FA. And I do think and hope that it actually helps them in the way they are going about it.
Of course, thanks to you both for the update, and we know with you too that we are going to get loads of information concerning the Black Stars of Ghana. That was Yaw Ampofo-Ankrah, the head of sports for IMAX, and of course Phillip Atsrim, Sitso Phillip, my senior colleague here at IMAX TV, giving us updates from Qatar.